Jarmond, who's on with us today, better known as MJ, the one and only, the original MJ, Seagull legend, the first NCAA team of UNC Wilmington, and we were getting a lot of chuckles here as we started because, I was a mere young puppy.
Young pup, man, young RT,
right.
a young RT,
I raised
man.
a young man, I think it was my first job on the road, first opportunity to do real coaching. I started off at Baylor myself, but first real good group to spend some time with and really get to know. And, MJ was one of those guys that was easy to get along with and work with every day because he was one of those guys that always had a smile on his face and was eager to learn and make everybody else around him better. Something I carried over into his professional life in terms of he's a great communicator. You got to be an unbelievable communicator. And he was one of the best that I've had a chance to coach and communicate, always communicating on the floor at all times and around campus for that matter.
And around
the city. I mean, he was he was like the mayor. I mean, he knew everybody and everybody knew him, and he was like a piper a little bit around campus. But his communication skills have definitely have helped him enhance his career, and he would probably attest to that today in terms of how important that's been for him in terms of carryover into his professional career. But I'm proud of what you've been able to do, man. Proud to have had a chance to coach you, and we had a lot of fun.
Thank you,
group, man. I got a chance to go back and go down memory lane and start looking at the names on that roster that we had a chance to.
We had some good times, man. We had some good times.
You got to look at
that was fun.
I mean, 1999, that first ever UNCW team to go to the NCAA tournament. We finished, it was your junior year. We finished fourth in the league that year. And, we had a senior banking a shot. Banking a shot.
Yeah.
Tournament. I don't think he's still paying for a meal right now in Wilmington. He's still using that one 20 years later. He's still using that one to get free meals around town.
Minute left. Thinking deep three.
To beat Richmond, and coached by John Beeline, and really good Richmond, team. But we get a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. I think your senior year, we make it to the championship game again, and we lose a thriller 35-33.
2 points, man. 2 points.
George Mason, coached by Jim Larinaga, who was of ours in terms of Mason and women's rivalry that we had. But we got a chance to go on to the NIT and play at Dayton. Where basketball is great there and the venue is great there in terms of the crowd. So we had two great runs. I know in your experience there with postseason play. Matter of fact, were you on that team with Billy Donlin my first year there?
Yeah, out of my 4 years, 3 of the years, we played in the championship game. So we finished first twice.
Now
2 or 3 times.
Year,
2 times.
Year, that would have been your sophomore year. We were preseason, team of the. We were preseason to win the league.
Preseason number 1, and it didn't turn out that way.
It was a tough one for us. We really, we grouped and we finished. I think we ended up finishing 5th in the league. We were 9-7 in the league. You'd be impressed right now with me in terms of knowing the stat. 9-7 in the league. We were 11 and 18, 11 and 17.
Man, your current guys don't care about that though, man. They want to get it to real, man. They don't care about it in the 90s, man. The late 90s.
We had to reminisce a little bit before we dipped into it a little bit. You know what I mean? Just gotta let these guys know, man. There's gonna be some ups, some downs, some peaks, some valleys in terms of when you go through your college career. I had a chance to postseason play in terms of NIT and NCAA tournament was huge for yourself and for us. And we left out the fact that you were the captain of the team for 2 years.
You got to maximize it, man, because you never know. My freshman year, we got to the championship game, lost to Richmond, went to the NIT. And my freshman year, I can remember this as it was like it was yesterday. I'm sitting in the locker room, just lost to a John Beeline Richmond team. And I'm a freshman. I'm thinking, oh, man, shit, we got to the championship game. We get back every year. We're going to get to the NCAA tournament. This is easy. Man. And they slip, they go by just like that. So you got to squeeze everything you can out of the experience. When you get a chance to do it, you got to do it then. Because like I said, it would be my junior year before we broke through. That was as a 4th seed. And then my senior year, when we were preseason number 1 and finished number 1, and then we lost in the championship game by 2 points. If you would have told me from my freshman year winning the league to my senior that I'd go to one NCAA tournament and 2 NITs, I would have said, man, you're crazy. We're going to go to the dance at least 2-3 times. And so at an early age, man, I tell you guys, man, they ain't no tomorrows, man. You got to treat every day like this is the time. This is the day. And make that decision, make that choice every day.
We talk about that all the time. This being the best time of your life. You're never going to get this time back again. You're going to be 17, 18, 19, 20 for one time, and you've got to maximize that opportunity while you can. There are no redos in terms of, man, I want to go back and redo that 18 or 19-year-old. That's not going to happen in terms of status. Now, you got a chance to play for a great coach in Jerry Wainwright. Jerry Wainwright, a lot of respect throughout the country in terms of what he was able to do in his career, great career there at UNC Wilmington, a great run there. And, I think got a chance to help develop a lot of really good young men and positive role models.
Absolutely.
Right now. Tell me a little bit about, tell my guys a little bit about where you're from, why you chose to go to UNC Wilmington, and a little bit about your experience while you were there. We talked about some of your postseason, some of your basketball stuff there a little bit, but kind of give us a whole little snapshot of your career at UNC Wilmington.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm from North Carolina, so obviously staying in state, closer to family was attractive to me. And then Wilmington was a program, quite frankly, to go, but it hadn't been to the NCAA tournament. It was one that had gotten close, but it hadn't quite got through that ceiling. And it appealed to me to kind of come up, really try to help that program get over the hump and move forward. And so I went there, and Coach Jerry Wainwright was great. Absolutely learned a lot about life, and the coaches were great. RT, you were a big influence on me. We talked a lot, and I was a guy that didn't have a lot of fanfare. That did the dirty work, the work. It was hard and not a lot of playing time and accolades, but I knew that the sum was always greater than the parts, and I knew I was a part of that thing. And you were really helpful and instrumental to me, just as far as perspective. And seeing that it's big in yourself. And that's so hard to do as a young person. We're so naturally concerned about ourselves and selfish. And how do you get a group of guys, young man, to really see that it's bigger than him? And I thought UNC Wilmington and you, RT and Coach Wainwright, did a great job of helping us see the bigger picture and having that perspective, which is sometimes hard to do. But I had a great experience. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I left Wilmington, and I knew I wanted to stay in college athletics, and I loved being on campus. I loved everything about it. So I went to grad school, got my master's degree, and then away I went. No,
man, I followed your career the whole time there, and you left off. You had to deal with Coach Broadell, who's the head coach over at Clemson right now, and from a basketball standpoint, from an educational standpoint, and how hard you got to push from our staff. We had a really good staff around.
Yeah.
Right? When you look back at it in terms of what you guys were able to work with on a daily basis and everything. But I followed your career. You had to go over to Ohio. Ohio is where you went over and got a chance to do your master's work in sports administration or sports management. Is that what we would turn up? And from there, talk a little bit about how you moved on and along in the professional ranks in terms of going from there, getting your job over. I believe you got a chance to work in fundraising over at Michigan State a little bit. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. So I left grad school and got an opportunity at Michigan State as an intern. Thought I'd live a year. Had never been west of North Carolina and been somewhere where it snows. I thought I'd be there a year, tops 18 months. I was there 7 years. And that just goes to show you never where opportunity is going to come, but you got to be ready for it when it does come. And that's what I try to do, is prepare myself in school and then grad school so that I take advantage of opportunities. Was at Michigan State, had a great run, was there 7 years. Then I had the fortunate blessing and opportunity to go work under who I think is one of the best athletic directors in the country, Gene Smith at The Ohio State University. And I was there at Ohio State under him for 8 years. And I put in my time, man. I did as much as I could. I soaked it up. But I saw there what excellence looks like and doing things at a high level because that's expectation. No, there's no room for error or misunderstanding. The expectation is winning championships, is doing things at a high level. and bringing the energy and being part of having juice today. You know, I learned from some great coaches there, from Thad Matta to Jim Tressel to Urban Meyer, and just that mentality. You got to be positive. You got to get after, and you got to have energy. You got to have juice. Are you up or are you down? You know, are you up? Want to be around people that are up. Let's go. So that's kind of what there, and was fortunate enough to leave Ohio State and become the athletic director at Boston College, which I was the first African-American athletic director at Boston College ever. And I became the youngest AD in the Power 5 at 37 at that job. So that was again, didn't think I'd ever go to Boston. Didn't think that I'd ever go to Michigan State, but again, that's where the opportunity was, and so I tried to make the most of it. And I was there for 3 years. And that was a great run.
Well, that again, all again, every step along the way was a great journey for you, and you had a chance to transition right into a different role and different opportunity. Tell our guys and communicate a little bit to them, maybe what your playing experience. Haven't had a chance to play for a tough, hard-nosed coach like Coach Wainwright. I talked to some of your former teammates. I kind of sing a lot Victor Ebong. I talked to Ebong, and better known as Black a lot of times, And I talked to Ebong.
Black.
I say Black. What separated you in your professional life, based on what you were able to do, playing, having a career as a college basketball player. And he said, Coach, it's not even close. He said, the things we were asked to do as a student in the league, you had to be a cut above, and playing for Jerry Wainwright, it more than prepared for you, not only for the game of college basketball, but also for the game of life. There's nobody ever going to outwork me. I've already worked as hard as you can work and be pushed to the limits in that regard and pushed out of my comfort zone. Talk a little bit about, maybe share a little bit about how you had some of those experiences carry over into your professional life, and what kind of advice you would also give guys that are in your shoes, that are currently playing right now. You had a chance to do it all over again. And you're like, man, I wish I had a chance to do it again. Knowing one thing right now, what else? I kind of gave you a loaded question in there a little bit, but I like to expand on that for us a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'll answer the last part first and go about what I learned. As far as doing something again, I wouldn't change anything. I think when you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, it's hard to think about, 20 years from now, 10 years from now. It's really hard to do that. So I wouldn't ask your guys to do that. I would tell them to maximize their opportunity. And that means every rep. That means everything that's asked of you to the best of your ability, because you don't want no regrets. And that's kind of what I would say is you don't want to go through life saying, man, I wish I would have. I wish I had have. Don't have wishes, man. Do it. Go hard. And give it your all, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And I have these two things I'll share with you that I learned, and it will also reflect in my playing days. I would say see it through. You got to have a level of grit to do what I'm doing. And Coach Wainwright would say, when we would have to run and do some stuff we didn't want to do, Coach would say, and then again, it might be a 5:30 a.m. 3-mile run for time that the guards got to make it under 17 and a half minutes, right? And Coach would say, we out there, we sleepy, we run hard. He said, you guys think this hard, waking up at 5, being out here, you think this is hard? What's hard is when you are married and got a family of 5 or 6, and you're digging inches every day, and you got to do that. You ain't got no option, because you got to provide. He said, that's hard. This ain't hard. I think about that so much, because no matter what I'm going through now, I say to myself, this ain't hard. 90% of it is seeing it through, is having a level of grit to stay with it when others are falling off. And that's what I would tell your guys. You got to see it through. You got to hold on to that rope longer than anybody else. And that's what you're going to remember when you leave UTEP and you have the ability to get a job and start working and building your career. A lot of it, man, is just grit and seeing it through, hanging on, and don't, because a lot of people are going to fall off. A lot of people stop. And so that's one thing I learned from my playing days. And the other thing too, man, is you got to take care of yourself. Not just your body, it's your mind, it's your sleep. I have a phrase, mind right, game right. You know, if your mind ain't right, your game ain't gonna be right. And it starts from here. And so how do I take care of that? What do I mean? That means getting the sleep I need. That means if I'm hanging with somebody I don't need to hang with, if I'm messing around with some girl I don't need to be doing, you know, I'm not best self, not whatever it is, I gotta make sure I can get this thing right so this thing is right. And that's something that I learned along the way, and I was able to crystallize it, but I think it impacts so much of your life. If this ain't right here, there's no way your game got a chance. But when you get that mind right, sky's the limit, game right.
So, yeah, so expand just a little bit more on playing for Jerry Wainwright. What give me a practice, give me a build up for getting ready, because everything was predicated on us when we were in the Colonial in a really good basketball league. Everything was predicated on playing your best basketball at the right time of year. And I thought Coach did a phenomenal job at UNC Wilmington, having our program ready to compete for 3 days. We had to go to, Richmond and went for 3 days. Share with me a little bit about how hard that was, or what your experience was like, you know, playing for Coach from the start to the finish of a season.
Well, it starts first with just expectation. You know, you're right. We played some of our best basketball in March, but the expectation was when the lights are bright, you must perform. You know, the scoreboard. At the end of the day, we know there's a winner and there's a loser, and you can't run from that. You can't cower from that. You got to embrace that. So Coach would say, you know, the lights are, you got to perform, you know, and the best ones do it when they're the brightest. And so from Coach Wainwright, what I learned is just the mentality that you needed to be strong enough and tough enough to do the little things consistently in advance those 3 days. But again, a lot of it wasn't talent or skill level, man. It was this drive and the mental makeup to see it through. And so Coach was good about that, man. He was good about just kind of going hard, but then lightening up, then also talking to you, what's going on up here? And how are you seeing the game? How are you thinking the game? And then just being tough as nails, man. He was big, you know, Coach. He was big on no fake tough guys. You know what I mean? He was like, you got to be tough.
No paper tigers.
No paper tigers, no fake, no FTGs, man. You know, and then, you know, or the 3 days, man, it's BYOE, man. Bring your own energy. You got to be a self-starter. You can't be worried about the crowd or the bench. You got to get yourself going. And that's what I learned from Coach.
We had a great following that would always go down with us to Richmond in terms of our Seahawk Nation and Seahawk fans. They would come over and give us a lot of energy, and we had a lot of support there built in the community, which was huge for us likewise. And their expectations were to go down there and compete for a championship and to the NCAA, which we were fortunate to be able to do on several occasions. So talk to me a little bit about what are your thoughts on the current situations right now that are in place around the country right now? You have, you know, we've seen, you know, a lot of injustice in terms of things about cops. We have the BLM movement, you know, Black Lives Matter. We also had COVID-19 in terms of the pandemic. So we had a 2020 that's kind of been, boy, we've got a little bit of everything that we've had to deal with and have to adapt and adjust to in terms of adversity. So, you know, share with us a little bit on each of those topics, a little bit of your thought process on some of that a little bit, and how you maneuvered through a lot of 2020.
Yeah, you know, it's a chaotic time in our country, and it's a chaotic time in the lives of our young people. You know, I can't think of a time in at least in my 40 years on this earth, of where there was so much chaos and uncertainty, really uncertainty, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's social justice, whether it's the division politically of where our country is going into an election. You know, there's just a lot of chaos. And so from my perspective, I think you have to be thoughtful and take your time on how you reflect on these times. And then for me, it comes, what am I going to do about it? You know, you can talk about it, you can tweet out, you can put something on IG, but what are you really doing? And that's what I've been encouraged for the young people that I have the opportunity, the blessing to oversee at UCLA as the athletic director. I've got people that want to make a difference. They want to have impact. And so how do we help young people find their voice, find what they're passionate about, educate on what the pluses and minuses, what that looks like, but then also put them in a position to make change, not only just in their local community where they are at school, but also in the communities back home, because that's where you always want home to be better, right? That's where we love, that's where we're from. So for me, I've been thinking more about how can I do something and what is that? And a lot of it for me is for education, registration. You know, I think you can have major impact by voting, by understanding who the politicians are, what are you passionate about as far as causes, and registering, because a lot of people talk about voting, but a lot of young people aren't registered. That's what I found. And so for me, that's one thing that I'm trying to push is a better understanding of how the voting system works, historically how it's worked in our country. And also, too, if I take it a step further, a lot of minority representation hasn't been there historically when it comes to voter registration and making your voice heard with your vote. I think we need to have minorities. You can't complain about what's going on if you're not willing to take action to help rectify that situation. And so one of the ways that I think we all can is by educating ourselves, getting registered.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't be on the sidelines and want to complain if you don't want to get in the game. You got to want to get in the game. You got to want to have an impact. And I know, and I've stressed to our guys how important it is. I have so many guys that are not even from this community here locally, but get a chance to get in here, get entrenched in the community, know who your local officials are and who you're assigned to hire the police chiefs, the fire department chiefs, and things in the local part. So with the state, and then obviously we want to be very involved in the national, which is very critical in terms of your vote does matter. Every vote does matter. So I encourage our guys to be very active in this movement and to be a part of change, because I think their generation has a great chance to be a part of a lot of change moving forward in this country. You alluded to the fact, I was going to ask you what you were doing currently, right? But you've already said that you're the current athletic director right now at UCLA, and very proud of you having that opportunity and had a chance to be out on. I see you right now. Go Bruins!
Got the mask, baby. Got the mask.
Haven't had a chance to be out on the West Coast. I understand, what it's all about there. We got a chance to go down and compete against UCLA when Coach Holland was coaching there, and he had a pretty good team. And then when we went in there as an assistant and as a head coach, I got a chance to go in there and compete against his teams as well. But we know the history of the athletic program there. Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you have right off the bat in terms of what you're embarking on right now. You obviously have a friend of mine and a really good coach in the Cronin program. Mick knows one way to do it, man. His teams are going to be hard nosed. They're going to play tough, and you better put your chin strap on and ready to get at and compete at a high level. But a lot of respect for him, what he's been able to do. I've known him from an assistant well into his head coaching days right now, and he's done a phenomenal job at every step. So, you got Chip playing football, and stuff. I don't know your baseball coach right now and things of that nature. I probably should, but just your two main sports, I know those guys. But talk to me a little bit about your challenges and then more importantly, what excites you about the future of UCLA athletics.
Yeah, I won't spend too much time on the challenges because, again, I like to look at things on opportunities, and they're well documented. You could probably pull them up in some newspaper articles very quickly, but everybody has some financial challenges right now. We're going through a pandemic, and, fall sports just got postponed. Football obviously just got postponed in the Pac-12, so there's a revenue challenge that we're going to have to fix. But I choose to look at the opportunities. I think this is a way to, whenever there's chaos, you can come out of it stronger, and the question is, how are you going to do that? And I think that's what I'm most excited about because, everybody's going through this. It's not just UCLA. UTEP's going through this. NC Wilmington going through. Everybody's going through challenging times. But who's going to come out stronger? who's going to be one of the leaders out there, and whether it's, name, image, and likeness, whether it's some of the opportunities that are coming to young people through legislation and NCAA. UCLA is going to be a leader in that area. We're going to be we're for our student athletes, and so I'm looking forward to just seeing it through. Getting through this. I think it's probably not just a 1-year thing. I think this is probably a 2-year challenge for most schools. Because we don't know, even when we get a vaccine, we just don't know where this virus is going to be a year from now, and just how people's behavior is going to change or adjust based on that. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing this through and how we come out on the other end. And obviously UCLA is barrier breakers. We have a history of leading. Not just in the country, but in the world. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Arthur Ashe, Ann Myers-Drysdale, Jackie Robinson. And the coach. The wizard. The wizard of, So we have unbelievable history, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, be a steward, and continue that legacy of barrier breakers and leadership, and stepping forward and do the right thing and the hard thing when it's not easy.
Oh, absolutely. Now you hit it spot on in terms of, we're all battling through some uncertainty right now, and really through some uncharted waters that not only in college athletics, but also our country, we haven't had the chance to learn. And there's no playbook on how do we get through this right now? How do we manage this every day? It's all new to us. It's fluid. The best thing is to just try to be educated, continue to listen to the right people in terms of the experts that know what they're doing in terms of handling this pandemic, and then us doing our part every day to try to be up to the right things. You had your mask earlier. We got to mask up. We got to make sure we're doing that and doing our part, man. But I can tell you this, man. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Watch your whole development, man, through, obviously, as a young man in college, then you had a chance to go off, and I watched, how you and I got a chance to stay in contact. We stayed in contact at Michigan State, stayed in contact at Ohio State, saw what you were able to do at Boston College, man. From a professional standpoint, man, and I'm super proud of what you've become and what you've been able to do with your life, man. And, I don't leave out, and I talk to our guys all the time about the importance of, we're trying to prepare you for the game of life, but you got to be really good fathers, man. You got 3 beautiful daughters, man. You have a lovely wife that you're married to right now, man. But your husband, provider, and more importantly, you're a great role model for other young guys coming up and saying, hey, man, you know what? I can do what MJ's doing right there, man. It makes it look easy because he's really talented at what he does in terms of the skill level and what he's been able to have carry over in terms of application in his life. But man, he's got the whole package right now in terms of what he's doing and how he's doing it, again, he didn't get there by himself. Someone had to help him along the way, and I know he's continue to be a trailblazer for other guys to come, follow right behind him and being another leader and hopefully add to our pool of Power 5 ADs that are minorities, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But superstar, UCLA's got a great one, man. You're gonna do great things there, man. I look forward to following your career there, the Bruin, man, and taking those guys and put some more. You got to put some more championships in that. They got a lot of trophies over there right now, so you got to continue to want to fill that old trophy case, man. Ain't that?
And 18 counting, 18 and counting.
In that building, you see all those trophies, man. It's impressive, man. And I know you're gonna add to that legacy, man, and leave your mark, man. But I appreciate you taking our time to share this with our guys and give back, man. It's all about giving back. You know what I mean? And again, for starting this, man, and I'm just proud to know I just had a little piece of, to be a part of that whole journey a little bit, man.
No, man, I appreciate you, man. This has been great. I've loved staying in touch because it's all about the people and the relationships. And like I said, you and I go back to 99, 2000, and we're still in touch today.
You start saying you feel, oh man, you're old guy, right? You don't see that, MJ? So you got to try to maintain, man. Keep your health up and keep moving, man. It's hard, man.
Mind right, game right, man. Mind right, game right. Well, I appreciate it, RT, man. Good to see you, brother, and best of luck to you this fall.
Take care of yourself, man, and be safe out there in the pandemic, buddy. We appreciate you.
All right.
All right, buddy.